Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Storytime English. I am so glad you are here with me today. Take a deep breath, let your shoulders relax, and let this story carry you gently through time. Now, imagine for a moment that you are standing in a garden in India. It is early morning. The air is cool and still. In front of you, a long pool of water stretches into the distance, perfectly still, like a mirror laid flat on the ground. Tall, dark cypress trees stand in rows on either side. And there, at the end of the pool, rising out of the morning mist, is a building. But it is not just a building. It is the most beautiful building in the world. A great white dome rises into the sky. 4 slender towers stand at the corners, perfectly straight, perfectly balanced. The walls are made of white marble, so smooth and so pure that they seem to glow. And in the still water of the pool, the entire building is reflected, upside down, like a dream of itself. This is the Taj Mahal, and this is its story. But the Taj Mahal is not a story about architecture. It is not a story about engineering or construction. It is a love story, perhaps the greatest love story ever told, not in words, in stone. The year was 1607. In the city of Agra, in northern India, a royal bazaar was being held. A bazaar is an outdoor market where people buy and sell goods. This was not an ordinary market. It was a special event for the royal court. Silk, jewels, perfumes, and spices were displayed on tables covered in fine cloth. Walking through this bazaar was a young prince. His name was Prince Khurram. He was about 15 years old. He was the grandson of the great Mughal Emperor Akbar. The Mughal Empire was one of the richest and most powerful empires in the world. It stretched across most of India and beyond. Its rulers built magnificent palaces and gardens. They loved art, poetry, and beauty. And on that day, in that crowded market, Prince Khurram saw a girl. Her name was Arjumand Banu Begum. She was about the same age as the prince. She was the daughter of a powerful nobleman. She was selling silk and glass beads at a stall in the bazaar, as was the custom at these royal events. The prince looked at her, and according to the court historians of the time, from that moment, he could think of nothing else. He went to his father and said he wanted to marry her. His father agreed, but royal weddings took time to arrange. 5 years passed before the wedding could take place. During those 5 years, the prince waited. He did not marry anyone else first, which was unusual for a Mughal prince. He waited for her. In 1612, Prince Khurram and Arjumand were married. He gave her a new name, Mumtaz Mahal. It means the chosen one of the palace. And she became not just his wife, but his closest companion, his most trusted advisor, and the center of his world. This was not a marriage of convenience. It was not a political arrangement. The court historians wrote that the prince loved Mumtaz so deeply that he had no desire for the company of any other woman. In a time when powerful men had many wives, this was extraordinary. Mumtaz traveled with him everywhere. When he went to war, she went with him. When he moved from city to city, she was at his side. She advised him on matters of state. She helped him make decisions. She carried the royal seal, which was one of the highest signs of trust a ruler could give. In 1628, after a struggle for power within the royal family, Prince Khurram became emperor. He took the name Shah Jahan. In Persian, it means king of the world. And for 3 years, Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal ruled together. The empire was at peace. The court was filled with music, art, and poetry. It was a golden time. Over the years of their marriage, they had 13 children. Mumtaz was the heart of the court. She gave money to widows and orphans. She listened to the problems of ordinary people. The poets of the court wrote that wherever Mumtaz walked, there was light. And then, in 1631, everything changed. Mumtaz was with Shah Jahan on a military campaign in the city of Burhanpur in central India. She was pregnant with their 14th child. After a long and difficult labor, Mumtaz gave birth to a daughter. But something had gone terribly wrong. Mumtaz was dying. Shah Jahan rushed to her side. She held his hand. According to the court records, in her final moments, she asked him to build a monument so beautiful that the world would never forget their love. Then she closed her eyes. She was 38 years old. Shah Jahan's grief was total. The court historians wrote that he wept for days. He refused to eat. He refused to listen to music. He refused to wear fine clothes or jewels. When he finally appeared in public, people were shocked. His hair, which had been black, had turned white. His back, which had been straight, was bent. He looked like a man who had aged 20 years in a single week. For 2 full years, Shah Jahan mourned. The entire court mourned with him. There were no celebrations, no festivals, no color. The empire itself seemed to be holding its breath, waiting for its emperor to find a reason to go on. And then he found one. He would keep his promise. He would build the most beautiful building the world had ever seen. A monument to his love for Mumtaz. A building so perfect that it would make the world weep. Construction began in 1632, on the southern bank of the Yamuna River in Agra. Shah Jahan chose the finest architects, artists, and craftsmen from across the empire and beyond. More than 20,000 workers were brought to the site. They came from across India, Persia, and Central Asia. Stonecutters, marble polishers, artists, and gardeners worked side by side. They lived in a temporary town that grew up around the construction site, with its own markets, its own streets, and its own small mosques. 1,000 elephants carried materials from distant places where stone was cut from the mountains. The main material was white marble, not ordinary marble, the purest, whitest marble in India, from Makrana, in the region of Rajasthan, more than 300 kilometers away. Blocks of this marble were cut from the mountain, loaded onto carts pulled by teams of oxen, and carried slowly across the dusty plains to Agra. The journey took weeks. But Shah Jahan wanted more than white stone. He wanted his building to contain the beauty of the entire world, so he sent for precious stones from across the globe. Jade from China, turquoise from Tibet, lapis lazuli, a deep blue stone, from Afghanistan, sapphires from Sri Lanka, carnelian, a warm red stone, from Arabia. In total, 28 different types of precious and semi-precious stones were brought to Agra from lands near and far. And then the craftsmen began their most extraordinary work. They used a technique called pietra dura. This is an Italian phrase that means hard stone. The craftsmen cut tiny pieces of these precious stones into the shapes of flowers, leaves, and vines. Then they carved shallow grooves into the white marble and pressed the colored stones into the grooves, creating pictures made entirely of stone. These are not paintings. They are not dyes or colors brushed onto the surface. They are actual stones, set into the marble so precisely that when you run your finger across the surface, you cannot feel where one stone ends and another begins. Nearly 400 years later, these flowers still glow with color, as if they were placed there yesterday. The great dome of the Taj Mahal rises 73 meters into the sky. It is shaped like an onion, a design common in Mughal architecture. Around it stand 4 smaller domes, and at the 4 corners of the platform, 4 tall, slender towers called minarets rise into the air. But the minarets of the Taj Mahal have a secret. They are not perfectly straight. They lean very slightly outward. This was done on purpose. If an earthquake ever caused a minaret to fall, it would fall away from the main building, not onto it. Even in his grief, Shah Jahan was thinking about protecting the tomb of his beloved wife. The garden around the Taj Mahal is divided into 4 equal parts by water channels that meet in the center at the long reflecting pool. This design represents paradise as described in the Quran, the holy book of Islam. 4 rivers flow through paradise, dividing it into 4 gardens of endless beauty. Shah Jahan was not just building a tomb. He was building heaven on earth for the woman he loved. The inside of the Taj Mahal is quiet and cool. Light enters through marble screens carved so delicately that they look like lace made of stone. In the center of the main chamber, behind a screen of carved marble, sits the tomb of Mumtaz Mahal. It is decorated with flowers made of precious stones. Verses from the Quran are carved into the walls in beautiful handwriting that grows larger as it goes higher, so that from the ground, every line appears to be the same size. Even the writing was designed to be perfect. The construction took 21 years. It was finally completed in 1653. Shah Jahan had kept his promise. He had built the most beautiful building in the world, a love letter written in white marble and precious stones, a building that changes color with the light. At dawn, it glows soft pink. At noon, it shines pure white. At sunset, it turns warm gold. And on nights when the moon is full, it glows silver, as if lit from within. The building seems alive. It breathes with the light. It is never the same building twice. But the story does not end with beauty. It ends with sadness. In 1658, Shah Jahan became very ill. His sons fought over who would become the next emperor. The struggle was violent and cruel. The winner was Aurangzeb, the 3rd son. Aurangzeb was ambitious and cold. He defeated his brothers, and then he did something that shocked the empire. He imprisoned his own father. Shah Jahan was locked inside the Agra fort, a massive red stone fortress about 2 kilometers from the Taj Mahal. He was given comfortable rooms. He was given food and servants, but he was not free. He could not leave. He could not visit the tomb of his beloved wife. All he could do was look. From a small balcony in the fort, Shah Jahan could see the Taj Mahal in the distance. Every morning, he sat on that balcony and watched the white marble glow, pink in the sunrise. Every evening, he watched it turn gold in the fading light. For 8 years, he sat and watched. He spent his days reading poetry, praying, and staring across the water. It is said that in his final years, his eyesight grew weak, and he could only see the Taj Mahal as a white shape in the distance. His daughter Jahanara stayed with him through his long imprisonment, caring for the old emperor as his strength slowly faded. The building he had created, the tomb of the woman he loved, so close, and yet forever out of reach. On the 22nd of January, 1666, Shah Jahan died. He was 74 years old. He had spent the last 8 years of his life as a prisoner, looking across the river at the monument to his love. His body was carried across the river and placed inside the Taj Mahal next to Mumtaz. If you visit the Taj Mahal today, you will see 2 tombs behind the marble screen. Mumtaz's tomb is in the exact center of the building. Everything in the Taj Mahal is perfectly balanced. Every arch on the left has an identical arch on the right. Every flower on one wall has a matching flower on the opposite wall. Left and right are mirror images of each other. Everything except one thing. Shah Jahan's tomb sits beside Mumtaz's, slightly to the left. It is the only element in the entire building that breaks the perfect balance. Shah Jahan had not planned for his own tomb. He had planned only for hers. His tomb was added after his death, and it sits just slightly off-center. Some say this makes the Taj Mahal even more beautiful. It is a reminder that this is not just a monument. It is a real story, a story of two real people who loved each other. And love, unlike architecture, is never perfectly balanced. Today, the Taj Mahal stands exactly where Shah Jahan built it, on the bank of the Yamuna River in Agra. In 1983, it was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In 2007, it was voted one of the new 7 wonders of the world. More than 7 million people visit it every year. They come from every country on earth. They come to see the marble, the dome, the flowers made of stone. But most of all, they come because of the story. The story of a man who loved a woman so deeply that when she died, he spent 21 years and the wealth of an empire building the most beautiful thing he could imagine, so that the world would remember her. And the world did remember. Nearly 400 years later, the world still remembers. And so, my friend, the story of the Taj Mahal comes gently to its end. It is a story about what love can build, not just marble and stone, but something that lasts across centuries. Shah Jahan lost everything: his wife, his freedom, his throne. But the thing he built from his grief still stands, still shining, still changing color with the light, still making people stop and hold their breath. And you, my friend, you are building something too. Every time you listen to a story in English, every time you understand a sentence that once seemed impossible, every time you come back and try again, you are building something beautiful. It may not be made of marble, but it is real, and it is yours. Keep building, my friend. Keep listening, and never stop learning. This is Storytime English. If the story of the Taj Mahal touched you today, please leave a comment. Tell me, what moved you most? Was it the moment the young prince saw Mumtaz for the first time in that crowded bazaar? The 21 years he spent building her tomb? Or the 8 years he spent watching it from his prison window, so close and yet so far? I would love to hear from you. There are many more stories waiting right here, and I will be here when you come back. Until next time, my friend, take care of yourself and never stop learning.